lesson 122%. Percent is simply a word for a ratio that compares a number to 100. So it has a lot to do with what we've been working with for ratios. So if you imagined you got, or I gave you a test that was out of 100 points, which would be a very long test. I don't think I would ever do that, but imagine you did, and you got 85 points correct out of 100. That would be a ratio. And we've been practicing showing ratios, right? Could be shown as 85 to 100, or probably the more useful way to show it is using a fraction, 85 out of 100. And that's probably how I would show it at the top of your test. You got 85 questions right out of 100. Now, what we often do with test scores is we convert them to percents. And since I made this test out of 100 points, it's actually very, very simple to convert it to a percent. Anytime you have a ratio that compares a number to 100, all you have to do to write it as a percent is just take the number you're comparing to 100 and put a percent sign behind it. Very, very simple. So if you have a ratio that compares a number to 100, you can just take the number that's being compared and write a percent behind it. So if you came across ratios like this, 45 to 100, you write it as 45% or 3.5 out of 100. You just take the number and you write a percent sign behind it. Very, very simple. However, most times ratios are not going to be nicely out of 100 for you, and especially on tests and things. It's very unlikely that you would have a test that's out of exactly 100 points. So let's say that I gave you a test that was out of 50 and you didn't study at all because clearly you only got 8 out of 50. What you want to do to convert that to a percent is use what you know about equivalent ratios and proportions. Okay, so we want to make this into a ratio that's being compared to a 100. All right, and you can use what you know about equivalent fractions. This is a nice simple one. What was being done to the 50 to get it to a 100? It was being multiplied by 2. So all you have to do is multiply your 8 by 2, and you get a 16 out of 100, which is equal to, I guess I could write an equal instead of an arrow, equal to 16%. So all you have to do to change a ratio into a percent is put it into a ratio that has a denominator of 100. Now, it's also not always going to be so easy in terms of the multiplying, right? It's not possible to take 15 and evenly multiply it into 100. So we have to use what we know about, cross products. All right, so just like we've been doing, 9 times 100 should equal the same thing as 15 times our mystery number. So since 9 times 100 gets you 900, all you have to do is take your 900 and divide it by 15. 15 can't go into 9, it goes into 96 times. 6 times 15 gets you a 90, 0. Bring it down. You still have to think to yourself, how many times does 15 fit into 0 for the division to be correct? 0 times. We end up with a remainder of 0. So in this case, the x equals 60, which means our answer is 60% because we have 60 out of 100. All right, so using a lot of the same things that we've been doing so far, you're going to be converting ratios into percents using what you know about proportions and equivalent ratios.